Thank you so much. Now I would like to introduce Commissioner Katie Dykes of the Department of Energy and Environmental Protection.
Well, thank you so much, Heather. It's great to be here today. I love that celebrations like this are becoming more commonplace. Just a few years ago, it felt like the kind of events we were going to talk about how to clean up our transportation system were more about policies and plans that were going to be developed. And now it's a regular occurrence that you see folks gathering to cut ribbons and celebrate infrastructure actually coming into place. I think this is so exciting. One of the things I think you've heard about all of the different benefits that electrifying our vehicles is providing. There's something for everyone when you think about purchasing an electric vehicle, whether it's comfort and the pleasure of driving an EV. I'm an EV driver myself, and I can totally attest that they're incredibly fun to drive. If you're watching this and have never test driven an EV, you absolutely need to go and try it out. But also the public health benefits of driving electric vehicles. Dr. Ghazi, I think your voice really speaks to one of the most important reasons that we're in this fight at the Department of Energy and Environmental Protection, which is to clean up our air and provide for healthier communities for the kids and the families all across our state. I really want to applaud the leadership here in New Haven from the Greater New Haven Clean Cities and frankly all of the leaders at the municipal level and your delegation who've been such tremendous and passionate champions for addressing public health and cleaning up our environment, cleaning up our air. Our transportation system is responsible for the lion's share, for 67% of the air pollution that our kids are breathing, our families are breathing every day. And in cities like New Haven, like Hartford, that are crisscrossed by major interstates with light industrial zones, those are the places that we see a lot of the air pollution from our transportation sector concentrating. DEEP manages 14 air quality monitors all around the state, and the air quality monitor where we're 24/7, 365 tracking air pollution. And we know that the air pollution levels that we're registering in our urban communities are 20% higher than what we're seeing even in nearby suburban and then in rural communities. And that is contributing to an equity issue across our state because so many of our communities of color, our low-income communities, are concentrated next to those transportation arteries that are critical for our economy but are making it even more challenging for people to breathe. And that's why we see cities like Hartford and New Haven listed among the top 20 asthma capitals of the country, where it's the most challenging to live with respiratory illness. So that here in our state, we're seeing families struggling with over $100 million worth of healthcare costs just for managing these extremely high rates of asthma alone. It doesn't have to be this way. And I love the point that was made that we're not talking, that the solutions to this problem are not technologies of the future that we're waiting for engineers to deliver. They're here today and they're affordable. And let me speak to that just briefly. Driving, I hear from a lot of folks that EVs are great, they're sexy, they're wonderful cars, but they're only affordable for people who have high incomes. And frankly, we know that driving an electric vehicle is more affordable from the standpoint of the operating and the maintenance costs. The cost of fuel and the cost of maintaining electric vehicles is lower than for traditional fossil-fueled vehicles. We are experiencing right now a lot of changes in the price of gasoline at the pump. Because of our dependence on fossil fuels, we are exposed in our economy to price spikes for these types of energy commodities. And that's certainly hitting gasoline, and that's hitting people's wallets. And so as we think about what we can do to help make driving more affordable and make transportation more affordable for families and businesses in our state, shifting to electric vehicles, electrifying our transit buses, being able to expand access to transit service, expand access to charging is critical and can be a path to provide for the affordability as well as the great driving experience of EVs for everyone. Connecticut has been a leader in helping to spur the transition to electric vehicles. I really applaud the terrific work that Chairman Gillette is providing, the focus on innovation and ensuring that our electric grid is prepared and our utilities are prepared to support this charging and get all of those fabulous benefits out of EVs is due to her leadership at PURA. And we have programs like the Cheaper program, where we are able to provide state incentives, cash rebates available on the hood when you visit your dealership. We've been supporting that program, and thanks to our legislative leaders, I know Senator Looney, Representative Lamar have been great champions of the Cheaper program and making that a permanent program for the state of Connecticut. And recently we've been able to expand that program to provide for rebates for used vehicles, and also to provide for rebates that are for income or more affordable for all families in the state. But I think we also need to be honest that there's so much more that we can do and that we need to do to help unlock these benefits of affordability and clean air that electric vehicles can provide for our state. We know that we're facing a climate crisis. DEEP has the responsibility to produce a report and track our progress in reducing greenhouse gas emissions every year. And just recently we issued our latest report showing that while the state has made great strides in reducing emissions from our power grid, which means, by the way, that the electricity that's fueling these EVs is going to be 91% carbon free by 2025 when our offshore wind farms that we recently contracted start spinning. So our electricity grid has gotten much cleaner, but emissions from our transportation sector and our building sector are continuing to increase. We need to be on track to reduce those emissions by 30% by the end of this decade if Connecticut is going to be able to do its part, its reasonable share, to help support the significant emission reductions needed to meet the Biden administration's decarbonization goals. And that means we need to invest in more programs like what we're seeing here to deliver more EV rebates and more electric vehicle charging infrastructure across the state. Approximately 500,000 EVs by 2030 and tens of thousands of chargers all across the state. And so good news is that right now in Washington there's a debate going on. I know Representative DeLauro has been a tremendous champion for the state, as well as all of our congressional delegation. Just with if we see the enactment of the infrastructure bill alone, we expect that Connecticut will see upwards of $4.5 billion coming to our state for investment in clean transportation. So that's going to go a long way to expand these types of investments across the state. At the same time, we're going to need matching funds. Approximately 20% local or state match is required to unlock that $4.5 billion. And so here at the state level, we're going to be continuing to talk about ways that we can support investments and new revenues through programs like the Transportation Climate Initiative and others that can generate approximately $1 billion of investment, dollars that we can put to work to leverage and attract those federal dollars here to our state. But it all comes back to leadership here in New Haven, Greater New Haven Clean Cities, and others coming together is how we get projects like this done. So excited to be part of it today. Thanks so much.